Okay, so let's talk about duotones. Let's say I wanted my Jim Carrey image to work with this project. And this project, I'm only allowed to use two colors, black and a second color. Well, this is in CMYK mode or RGB mode. So first off, I need to change this to grayscale mode. Okay, duotone is not available. So let me see if it'll come available with RGB. I don't think it will. Image mode. No. You have to convert it to grayscale before you can do a duotone.
Does duo mean two?
Duo means two, yes. You can do tritones too, and quad tones, but it gets kind of complicated. So I converted to grayscale first. You might have to do some adjustments if the midtones, highlights, and shadows have kind of blasted out. You can make an adjustment layer. I assume you've covered that kind of thing in Photoshop class. But you probably haven't covered the duotone. So here I'm going to go to Image, Mode, and I'm going to change this to a duotone. So this is Image, Mode, Duotone. But it has to be grayscale first.
So you want to change the color to grayscale?
Yeah, grayscale first. Image mode, grayscale, and then image mode, duotone.
Right, but if it's a color photo, you have to change
it. Yeah, if it's color photo, you'll have to change to grayscale because duotone is not available when you're trying to do it from color. Okay, you get this dialog box that comes up, duotone options. Well, it's funny because the type right now says monotone, which that is what it is. Monotone meaning it's black and nothing else. So you want to choose duotone. Okay, nothing's happened yet because we have to choose a second color. So ink 1 is black, and that's perfectly fine. Ink 2, however, we can, let's see if we can load color swatches. I don't know if they're, I'd heard that maybe they're not available. Oh, hold on. Oh, okay. I clicked on the wrong thing. This actually is a curve for adjusting how much color goes in there. I need to click on this blank area that's white. This is where your color is going to go. So I click on that one. And I want to go to Color Libraries. That's your Pantone color library. And we're going to use Pantone. Now, I don't know what two colors you're using yet, and this is how you can kind of pick, is you can go through these this Pantone system. And if you use your arrow key, I'm arrowing down and I'm looking at all these different colors. And you can see what's happening to Jim Carrey. He becomes black and another color.
That's great.
So if you want a sepia-toned look, you would use like a reddish brown. If you wanted it cyanotyped, you would use like cyan and black. So I don't know what colors you guys are going to use, but you only use one. So maybe I choose this color, Pantone 117C. The C stands for coated paper. It really doesn't matter if C or U right now. I mean, because we're not going on press. We're just putting on a regular printer, so it won't matter if it's coated or uncoated. It's the same. It's the same color mix. Yep, solid coated. There's also solid uncoated. It's the type of paper. So some papers have coatings on them, some don't. Okay. So once you get your color, you write that color down because you're going to use that color again in InDesign. Okay, so write this color down. I want to use, you don't have to write in your notes, but you will write the color down that you select. Whether you selected the color in InDesign or Photoshop, write the color down because maybe you've done some stuff in InDesign with this color. Well, remember when you go to Photoshop and you create a duotone, you'll have to use that same color. Okay, so let's assume I'm using Pantone 117. That is my second color, and that you only have one color. That's your second color on all 3 of the solutions or all 6 of the drafts. I hit OK.
And white, right?
White is free.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the color of the paper, or paper color. Yeah. Okay, now if you don't care for how dark the shadows are, you can go in and adjust the curve of the black ink. So I can click on that icon. It's the little curve icon, and I can move things around to brighten it up. Oops, now my highlights are getting a little washed out. So you guys, I assume you've played with curves before. Whoa. Excuse me, I'm getting a little crazy here. Let me clear some of that out. Oh my gosh, let me cancel this and do over. I don't know what I'm doing. But you just do it till it looks good. And keep in mind when things go to print, they always go a little darker. Oh, wait.
They always go a little
Yeah, on our printers, yeah. So you have to kind of lighten things up a little bit. Like that. And if you want to, you can even adjust the second color. Whoops. Click on the curve. Maybe you want more of it. Maybe you want less of it. Whoa, golly. I'm just click happy today. And you do it till it looks bright and nice. So I'm like, okay, I'm really happy with that duotone.
Yeah.
What is it, Pantone 117?
How did you bring up the options box there?
When I went to image, mode, duotone, I clicked on the little curve, the little, it looks like a, no, don't do this. I clicked on that for the duotone curve.
I meant the actual...
The color?
I meant that box right there.
Oh, this? Oh, just by going to image, mode, duotone.
Yeah, okay.
It brings that dialog box up. Now, you could do tritones and quad tones, but I don't know of very rarely do people do that unless they're adding a special silver ink or something into the highlights. But we don't normally have the luxury of that. Duotone is majority of what I would use here.
Would
Okay.
you call that sepia tone?
This would be kind of sepia toned, yes.
Is sepia tone, does it exist in tri and quad?
Yeah, you can still, it depends on what you add. If I were adding a gold, like an actual metallic ink, then the sepia tone would still look sepia. You'd have 3 colors then. A tritone is 3 colors, 3 different ink colors. It would be black, the 117, and then if I decided to do a metallic gold. Okay, now how do you save this? Well, you might want to go to your notes because vector EPSs, this isn't vector, but we do save duotones as EPSs.
Really?
Yes. In the industry. We don't save them as tips.
Why?
I don't know.
What's the difference, though? There's not really much.
I just know that my training from all the years in printing and doing graphics, we always save duotones as EPSs. And then maybe I'm old school and maybe we don't need to do that anymore. It comes down to the raster image processor. And this being a spot color versus a CMYK color, that's probably what got more to do with it than anything, is the spot color. The spot color is like paint on the wall. If you get really close, it's not half-toned. It's a custom color. So I'm going to save this as, used to you couldn't save it as anything but EPSs. There is no TIFF option. Aha! It's still EPS is the standard. I can't even save it as a TIFF. Save it. The preview, again, is going to look crunchy and ugly when we place it in InDesign. Hit OK, because that's an 8-bit pixel preview. Now when I go into InDesign, let me get rid of all this junk. We don't need it anymore. And I go to File and Place, and I grab Jim Carrey EPS and place him. Oh, that's really much larger than what I needed. It does look a little pixely. You can see that. But as soon as I right-click on that graphic, go to Display Performance, make it high quality print. There we go. And I am kind of breaking the rule, but not really. I'm breaking, it's like I am using a photo in here, and that photo, it's the 2 colors that I've chosen. Now, while I'm in InDesign, I suppose I should probably also tell you how to get that color in InDesign. I would go to Swatches, and it's already there. Oh, sneaky, sneaky Adobe. Because I used that spot color on the duotone in Photoshop, when I placed it in InDesign, InDesign said, hey, I need to make sure that I know what's going on with these color profiles, and I'll go ahead and include that color in the swatches panel. Woohoo! Now, if it weren't there, maybe I'm not using a photo in my stuff. If it weren't there and I needed to get a custom color here, the second color, here's how you would do it in InDesign. So maybe some of you guys aren't going to use photos, so I'm actually going to delete that photo. Let me delete him for just a second. Hello, delete. The color's still there, so I'm going to delete it too. Once you place an image, it's kind of the color's grandfathered in. When you delete the image, the color's still there. So I just made it so the color's not there, as if you're not using a photo in InDesign. So in your swatches panel, the flyout menu here, which is in the upper right-hand corner, you would go to New Color Swatch, and you switch it from lab color or CMYK or RGB to Pantone solid coated or uncoated, and then you type in the number of the color that you liked or that you're planning on using, and you hit add and done, and there it is. It's in your swatches panel, and you can use it over and over and over again. Okay?
And it's already in InDesign and you just want it handy?
Yeah. You don't want to have to keep going to swatches and go get that. You want it to park in your swatches panel so that when you go over here, usually swatches is over here.
Right.
So when maybe you're working on pages and you're doing some stuff, and then you want to go use that color again, it's right there.
You go to the flyout to get it,
Mm-hmm.
to input it.
Yeah.
Okay.
This little flyout guy right here, new color swatch, and you want to choose, in this case, because it's a solid color, it's Pantone solid, either coated or uncoated. Most of the time we'll use Pantone process, but in this case it's a 2-color job. Pantone process is 4 colors, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Okay? So in this case we want it solid. So this video is not only going to cover duotones, it's covering Pantone solid colors and swatches, color swatches, and how to get your Pantone library so you can find your color swatch. Now, one more thing, and I know it's almost time to go. There's one more thing that's so awesome, and that's what to do with that line art, those books that I had you guys passing around. What to do with this line art image. Let me place this line art image that I have. I think it's the Ox Tiff. I'm going to place him. Oops. Make sure when you place something you don't click and drag because it will sometimes put it in a box that's way too small. So just click. If it's a really tiny box, just hit delete or Command Z and then click again. This is so much fun because I can have a monochromatic color palette here. So let's say I wanted this ox to sit on a background that is Pantone 117. Okay, let me make sure the ox is in the front. Object, arrange, bring to front, or right click and you can tell it to bring to front, or Command ending bracket brings it to the front. Now let's say I wanted something a little bit more subtle. I didn't want it black. With the direct selection tool, which is also a white arrow, I click on the oxen and it tells me the oxen is black. And I said, no, I'm going to make the oxen Pantone 117. Where'd the oxen go? Well, let me adjust the tint of the oxen. Ooh. Or I could adjust the tint of the background and make the oxen the darker color of the Pantone, in this case, Pantone 117.
How did you select background?
I just clicked on it with the black arrow tool.
Okay.
It's a separate item. You can do this with type. You can do it with black and white graphics. You can even do it with black and white photo. You can't do it with CMYK or RGB graphics.
So this is for bringing a line drawing in so that you use duotone.
Yeah, well, it's a false duotone.
It's not duotone.
No, you're not duotoning anything. You're just creating a monochromatic color range. So you're using the same Pantone 117. You're just using tenths of it.
Yep.
So you get this low key contrast if you're closer in range, and it's high key contrast if you're much farther in range. So I might put a headline in here. Let me just type in the word headline. There's my headline. You guys want to know how I did that so quickly? Did I already talk about that? Oh my gosh, don't you want to know?
Made the box as small as the words.
The magic, though, is how am I resizing this and it's staying in proportion?
Using shift.
Nope, not just shift. Shift and command, or on a PC, shift and control. I can also do that with the oxen. I don't want to increase him in size, but I can decrease him because of, when you can select the spending money, you can't spend up. Okay, but I can sit here and play with this color thing all over the place. I can go, okay, my aleph is going to be my darkest Pantone color. My cow, or my oxen, I'm going to make it about 80%. Let's do about 80, 75. And this background, I'm going to take it down even further. And I still have black still. I haven't used black. But look at what I can get with one color.
It's wonderful.
Most people think that a 2-color job is like boring. I only get 2 colors. It's only as boring as your imagination. If your imagination challenged, yeah, it turns into boredom. But if you can stretch it, stretch your imagination, and people share with you certain techniques. Now, I had to figure these out on my own. when I was in school. No teacher was sharing us anything. Nothing. They wanted to see what we came up with ourselves. But hey, I'm here for sharing. So I'm going to share you all the tips I know. Because you guys are wanting to get jobs. And these kind of things can make really simple, cheap graphics look really amazing. With just a couple, within the limitations.
That looks to me like Crate and Barrel.
Right. There's a lot of things that this might resemble. Yeah. Especially, the old-fashioned nature of the engraving and stuff. Now, if I place that duotone, I can't do anything about that. I can't go and do color ranging. But if I were to save Jim Carrey as a grayscale image, I can do this too. But it's a false duotone, meaning the highlights will never be white. There'll be some color, either a percentage of black or a percentage of this Pantone 117. So false duotones, I don't really like to show those because they don't look nearly as good as true duotones. A false duotone is just a grayscale image plopped in here. You click on the white arrow tool and you do the same thing I did with the oxen. You tell it to be a certain color, and it really doesn't look that great. Okay. You know, I have video. I'm going to actually have you guys. I have video online on how to manage drafts. There's no difference in listening to me in the classroom versus video on, it's the same stuff. Same demonstration. Now, this demonstration is not online. But the video demonstration on how to conquer drafts is on there. So, I want you guys to watch that video as homework and start developing your drafts. And I do want to see your drafts in here on Tuesday. I'm not going to change that deadline. I want to see what you can do when somebody gives you the tools to work with and see where you go. Okay? If you run into snafus, you're like, man, I really wanted it to do this, but I couldn't figure out how. Get it to look as good as you can. And then when Tuesday comes, and you're like, I really wanted it to do this. So this is kind of subpar because I couldn't get it to do that. Tell me, and chances are there's more than one of you that want to do something with, with this, some sort of certain technique. And I'll go, oh, well, let me show you how to do that. And I'll do it on the overhead. And there's so much sharing going on in that respect. Sometimes I can't demo everything. So, like in a video, it just, So you'll get the basics in the video, but if there's something specific that I didn't cover in the video and you're like, I really, really wanted to do this technique, but I don't know how.
That's the point of drafts.
What's that? That's why they're drafts.
Yeah, that's why they're
drafts. That's why they're drafts. So put it together, your layouts based off of your sketches. Yes.
2 from each of
Yeah.
the 3, so
Yeah.
6 altogether.
Yeah. 6 total. What's that?
Do you have like how to scan an image in and like?
I don't have the how to scan an image in. I can do that in the next 10 minutes, though. We still have 10 minutes left. 8 minutes. If you have an image and you like one of these guys in the book, I actually scanned that oxen. I want to call him the Aleph. I scanned him in. So to scan, I would go to Photoshop, and this is just the scanners here in class. Yours may be different. And where it says import, under File, Import, I'm going to go Images from Device. This is subpar, by the way. It's not got all the bells and whistles that I wanted on there. And I'm going to scan this cow. I want to make sure that, by the way, you might make sure details are shown. The scanner will be warming up. I placed my artwork on the scanner. Basically, the head of the artwork is going to be at the top where the hinge is. Otherwise, it'll be upside down.
So you're scanning something in?
It's actually previewing it right now and warming up. It's not doing anything. So it takes a minute. I had it, obviously I had scanned it earlier because the book's still in there and you saw the oxen. But the thing that we're going to have to play with is the resolution on this, because this, I cannot tell it this to make things 10 inches by 10 inches. Okay? So let's say this is the oxen I want. I will click and maybe extend the grabber area. You don't want to grab the whole page. So I just want this oxen. I always grab a little bit of white space around it. By default, this will be at color, and I think it's going to be at 72 pixels per inch by default. And all of this stuff is usually, let's see, that's all, it's all there, but sometimes you have to pull down on this window to open it up. So if I'm scanning in a line art graphic, now if it's color graphic, I just use color. Millions, don't go billions, you'll lock the computer up. But if it's black and white line art, I use text. Because remember I said type is black and white. As far as, it starts out black and white. So text equals line art on this scanning software. They used to, some of them say line art. And you can do some image correction. I usually do manual, and I'm going to adjust that threshold up a little bit so I can actually see the cow. If it looks all black, then adjust up a little bit. So it'll detect some more of those white details. Now, because it's going to scan it at about, let's just say 3.5 by 3.5. I have to do math. How many times does 3 go into 10?
3.
3. 0.333. 3 forever. 3 times 3.3 forever equals 10. So I need to blow this thing up 300 times, 300%. Now, normally our resolutions for line art graphics would be 1200, correct? Okay. But I need to blow this guy up, resolution-wise, I need to blow it up 3 times that. It should be 3600. So I'm going to make this 3600 DPI. Okay? It is text or black and white, 3600 DPI, because I'm going to resample that down later. I can only get, if I typed in a 10 by 10, this square right here, this guy that is around the oxen, it just gets 10 by 10 and grabs more stuff. I've adjusted the image correction, and I want to make sure that it doesn't go into pictures. By default, it will. So I chose the desktop, and by default, it'll call it scan. So I call it aux. So I already typed that stuff in, and I go ahead and choose TIFF, and I scan. So some of this was already there because I scanned earlier.
So you want a 10 by 10 is what you want.
I want 10 by 10, but I can't get 10 by 10 here. I have to, so since I can't tell it, hey, make this 3.5 by image 10 inches, it doesn't give me that option. There's nothing in there that gives me that option. So I have to triple my resolution.
When you do triple the resolution, are you adding more data or are you asking it to facsimilate
It's
data?
adding more, it is capturing more data. It's being much more careful. It goes much more slowly across that image while it's scanning. It scans very slowly because it's capturing a lot more data. So you're going to have a sharper image.
I thought that it would always capture the same amount of data anyway.
No.
I didn't know that.
No, it's capturing more data.
That's why I didn't understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, it's capturing a lot more data, and it's making sure it's capturing the edges of the graphic much more cleaner and sharper. Okay. I believe I already have this on the desktop, so I'm gonna cancel this. And what I get is it will open in Photoshop. I did this earlier, so it wouldn't take the whole class time to get that to come up. And it looks like this. Now, the only bad thing is when I go to image size, it's 3200 pixels per inch. I don't want a 32 pixels per inch. It's 3 inches by 3 inches. So I uncheck resample image like we did before. And when I type in 1200, okay, it's not quite 10 by 10, so I was a little off. It's 8.9 by 8.2. Okay? So I probably should have scanned it in a little bit more than 3200. Yes?
So would this be a good candidate to do the actions?
No. Here's why. You have to convert. Well, yes and no. If I go and try to play the action on this, and I may be wrong, but let me see here. Because it's bitmap, I may not be able to do it. Oh no, I can. Yeah, I can. And now it is image size. It's 1200 at 13 by 10. So yeah, it was so close. I didn't start with garbage, so I'm not going to end with garbage. So yes, you're right, Nathaniel, sorry. You're right. I didn't think I could on a bitmap image play that action, but I can. Okay, did you guys learn a lot today?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I'm full of it, let me tell you. Of that. No, I'm full of a lot of stuff, but you guys, there's so much for me to share, it's just painful for me to not be able to share it with you all at one time. It's too bad you guys don't have USB wires that you can just plug into my brain.
Yeah.
And they just pay me money and plug in my brain and then you're done. Okay, so do your best to work out some drafts. There's some very helpful videos online on that. I'll try to post these videos right after class. It takes me a while because they take so long. Don't forget to sign out. Sign out sheets right here. I know there's a lot, isn't there? This is why it is. That's why everybody doesn't become a graphics person. It's like, and everybody doesn't become a photographer either. They think they can just by pointing and shooting. People think they're graphics people because they can use Photoshop and hit print, but this is where the rubber meets the road.
Also, I just got the email saying
Oh yeah.
I'm getting the book.
Oh good. Okay, yeah, just let me know. And we'll get your stuff opened up.
I never got